All right, guys, we just finished up our meeting about Zoom and Canvas, and we weren't able to show you the buttons as a presenter when you were participating. So we want to take a minute here to make a quick video. We can put something else out that's much better than this. We want to make sure today that you got this in your hand so you could see the features that we just described, but you couldn't see them all. So we were talking earlier, and I said on the very left-hand side, you can see your mute button. And the mute button is the same function as if you were participating in a Zoom meeting. You can mute yourself, you can stop your video. That's what these two buttons are here. The security button. When I go into the security button, I can see lock the meeting. I would use lock the meeting if I didn't want any more people to come into the meeting. Great example is you've already taken attendance and you know no one else belongs in that meeting. And since you're using an open link, some of you are using an open link, you might not want to let anyone else in. You can enable the waiting room. You can allow your participants to share their screens, to chat, to rename themselves, to unmute themselves. If I unclick unmute themselves, that's a great feature because you can not allow them just to bust into a lesson. Instead, maybe they have to use a certain reaction to get your attention, or they could privately chat with you in order for them to ask a question, because you can't always stop a lesson to answer a question. There's always portions of your lesson. So that's a great reason to use unmute themselves. So these are the security options right here. Here are my participants. And you can see here, this is where if I clicked on this, I can see how many people are participating in our sessions. When I click on this button here, I can invite more people. Next one is polls. If I chose a poll, I could add a question in real time. If I didn't want to do this in real time and I wanted to do it ahead of time, my option would be when I create the meeting. When I create the meeting, there's going to be a place for polls, and you're going to see a template that's connected to Canvas. So if you want to create preset questions, do that when you're creating the meeting. Now, if you don't see your option for polls, that means it's not enabled in your settings. So make sure you go into your settings. Where would you find your settings? You find your settings from the from the Zoom website. Not through Canvas, but through the Zoom website. When you go into your profile on the Zoom website, you're going to see, it's my account on the Zoom website. You're going to see the recording options. You're going to see the meeting options. And one of those things is polls. Okay. Chatting. If we want to start a chat, we would click on here. These options for chatting down here to everyone. If I click on these three buttons here, participant can chat with no one, host only, everyone public. During your class, I know even during our meetings, host only or no one are options sometimes because a chat can become distracting. So please know that these are the examples. If you wanted to attach a file, if you wanted to share something with someone or everyone, we could attach a file right here. And it could take us we could take it to a file from our computer. I just shared with everyone our Zoom rules, and everyone could open that up and see our Zoom rules. So you're in the chat feature. You can choose for everyone to be able to chat. You can choose for everyone to only be able to chat with you, or you can disable chatting altogether. That's where you find that in the chat box here. Okay, the next one we want to show you are share screen. In the share screen, you have a lot of options. When I look at this one here, I can see advanced sharing options. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. One participant shares at a time. You can get into that, but this is more important. Just click on the green button. When you click on the green button, you're going to see screen, which means they're going to see everything on your screen, or you could choose whiteboard. These are the two different options, screen or whiteboard. The whiteboard is the interactive board where the students can write, you can write, and you can do a lesson that way. We're still going to look into, can you bring content into the whiteboard and paste it? We're going to look into it. If you have this advanced setting over here, this advanced setting, this beta test I'm a part of, if you're a part of it as well, check it out. It puts you right into a PowerPoint, very useful. These other things you've definitely asked about, but this last one, content from second camera, I know we had a question about that, and here is where you would be able to share your content from your document reader or another camera over Zoom. So once again, these are two different options when you share your screen. You share your screen or you share the whiteboard. If you go into advanced, this is where you would pick content from a second camera. and then I would have to pick share. I can't pick share because I'm already using my webcam, so I'm going to close that out. Recording. Here's my recording button. When I click on recording, the two options it gives me is record on this computer, record to the cloud. We want to record to the cloud. The cloud will save it. It won't take up space on your computer. It'll post it automatically to your Zoom class. When I'm recording to the cloud, students will have an opportunity to go back into that recording in your Canvas course, which is one of the most important features. You know how fast we went. You know how you're feeling overwhelmed. You would love to see the presentations again, just so you can hear parts that maybe you missed. You recording it to the cloud is the way to do this. So make sure you record this. You could set this to record automatically in your settings from your account through the Zoom website. You could do that as well, okay? All right. I do not have it right here, but there's another option that I want to make you guys aware of when it comes to recording. And one of the things you can do is when you have multiple tiles up, and I don't have multiple tiles, it's just me right now. You can pick something called Spotlight. And if you spotlight yourself, you're able to keep yourself in the large screen, no matter who asks a question, and keep all of your students surrounding you in a thumbnail. That's a good option if you want to make sure your video is not featuring students in your class who are talking. Students might be reluctant to ask questions and participate if they feel like they're going to be featured in the large screen view for everyone to see. But staying in their thumbnails is similar to staying in their desk. They feel like they have their place. Everyone's not staring at them. So I recommend choosing the Spotlight option, which is what you would click when you have different images up on your screen. You click over your own image, you're going to see the three dots, and you're going to hit Spotlight. Closed captioning, we talked about that. Closed captioning is going to be a great tool to use. If you do not use the closed captioning third party, you can assign someone in your class, like an instructional assistant, to type things maybe that you want students to write down, or if you want them to try to keep up with you, and so students are getting the most important things. Lots of ways to use that. We will do another training on how to use this third-party server, or this third-party service. Next one's your reactions. Breakout rooms. Let me close this view because I'm in a chat view. I'm going to close that view. Now I can see my breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are going to be used when you want to make sure you can have independent work. That was a great suggestion. Or you can have group work. You can see assign 0 participants into one room. That number 0 represents how many other students are in my meeting right now. You as a teacher will not be counted. You can sort them automatically, and then Zoom will do the math for you and bust them up into equal rooms, or you can manually sort them. You can choose up to 50 rooms. Once you're done, you create the rooms. I'm going to see if this, I don't think this is going to work, but let me click on this to see if I can get there. Breakout room 1. I can assign people to this room, open all rooms. I can add a room. I'm going to have different options as well. Here's my countdown option, move people, close out the breakout rooms. So here is options down here are those things that you are asking about, or how you can control the breakout rooms. So I'll go back for that one more time. Breakout rooms are here. And you can see I have these options that give you those things that you were asking about in the training. Okay. Normally we would have saw several breakout rooms. We would have saw students' names in those breakout rooms. And I told you this is where you're able to drag or swap out students in this place right here. This screen is where you would have seen that. All right. Now the last thing that I would show you is, you know what? The share screen. Share screen, whiteboard. I want to show you that annotation tool. Here's the annotation tool. Self-explanatory, all the different things you can do. The only thing that I wanted to make sure that you did see was up top here in my settings, my more. enable annotations for other. If you want students to be able to write on this board, you have to click on enable annotation for others. So make sure you do that. Here's your save button, saves it as a PNG file, and then you can just you can save that for later and post it for your class. Okay, those were the options. That was me sharing my whiteboard. There are also whiteboard options in breakout rooms. We didn't go into that today. Last thing I'm going to show you is let me get out of this. Let me go back to my main. Okay. The last thing I want to show you is what we showed you at the end of the meeting. And at the end of the meeting, what we were seeing was the settings. How do you get to your settings? How do you change those settings? So we're going to change those settings in Zoom. So I'm going to go up here, zoom.com, bring you to Zoom's homepage. I'm going to click on My Account. So here's my profile. I'm going to click on Settings on the left-hand side here. And this is where you're going to go through. And the two things that I stressed here, remember what you're doing is you're setting up your predetermined choices for the next time you create a meeting. So the two things that I just wanted to point out to you were polls. Make sure that you are enabling polls in case you wanted to use that interactive feature. Here's that chat where I prevented people from saving the chat. Not sure if you're interested, but something I did. Here's the button for polls. As you can see over here, this blue, we're in Meeting Basic. Okay, we're in the basic options for the meeting. I'm gonna keep scrolling down though. I want to get to the place where you can see breakout rooms. Make sure breakout rooms are enabled. The last thing I'm going to show you on this screen, I just showed you polls, I enabled it. I just showed you breakout rooms, we enabled it. Now I'm going to show you recordings. Remember, there's local recordings and cloud recordings. And this is where the options come in. We are going to use cloud recordings to make sure that it goes into students' Canvas pages for those courses, so students have access to see these videos later. Obviously, it's turned on, and that's what you needed to know. Let me bring you back for the end here. All right. So we really want you to feel better about what we're doing today, and we just need you to know how to log on to Zoom, how to schedule a meeting, how to manage students if you need to using some of those security features, like the waiting room or mute a participant or remove a student's video, things like that. This is not the last training. It's just a training to kind of get you started for the first day of school. So please email me any questions you have, and we'll continue doing trainings. And I really recommend, if you have more questions, to sit through the same exact training you just did with us today again, because the second time you hear it, maybe it'll make a lot more sense. So thank you for being so patient with us, and I hope this video helps.